Hi, Bob. Can you hear me? Should be a panelist. So I could see Bob and Carol. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Bob. Bob, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Kelly.
Good. Okay. So we won't have Angela tonight. She had something come up.
Okay.
There's Tracy.
Hello.
Hey, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Sorry, a couple minutes late here.
I know I always have to go look for the meeting invite. Scrolling through emails.
I always panic on that week before one. I'm like, oh, wait, no, it's next week.
Yeah.
I guess you guys got your email from Mara today that we just have the two that we're discussing.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and so and then we're waiting on Ken.
Yeah, looks like.
Okay.
No, Angela tonight.
No, she had something come up.
Okay.
Just as a fun fact, so I'm in the KWK office tonight. We're in the Gorlock building, and the room I'm in was the city hall when it was built.
Wow.
And yeah. So I could be sitting where the building inspector was sitting, or who knows, the mayor, or who,
Huh.
I don't know what the plan, exactly what the plan was. I think we're above, there's like a chiropractic office below us, and was gonna be a macaroon shop.
Mm.
But and I understand, like, I think the jail was on the bottom floor.
Oh, wow.
I think this building was nominated in 1917, or I'm sorry, it was built in 1917, but it was one of Klipstein and Welch's first projects. And if anyone doesn't know who they are, they were responsible for a lot of work at Anheuser-Busch, including Bevo Mill. They did the brew house at Grant's Farm, or whatever that big barn's called. And I think one of their final commissions was the civil courts building downtown. So it's kind of a neat story.
Yeah, that's really cool. Did you just learn that? Or you've always known
No, when I started
Yeah.
working here at the Gorlock is when I learned all that.
it? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, because we renovated our space the first year I started here. That's when I learned all about the Gorlock.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a
All
nice-
right. Looks like we've got Ken joining us. Can you hear me, Ken? Ken's on mute.
You can talk.
There you go.
Yeah, all right.
We can hear you.
All right, so we got who we need for our pre-meeting. Work session will begin. I think we have a number of pre-approvals, and then 2 that we're gonna review with applicants that are on the call. It'll be just the 4 of us tonight. So with that, I'll just start with the first one on our list to discuss, which was 224 Spring, which is a construction of an attached garage.
The only question I had is I didn't know if they'd be open to having some windows on the south side of the garage. I know they've got large windows on the north side, but just wanted to bring it up to see if they were open to that idea.
And I just had a suggestion to maybe vary the siding type, in the front gable, somewhat similar to on the south elevation above that side porch. They have a little variety of siding type there, and it might be nice to bring that over to the garage to kind of tie the addition to the existing house a little bit style-wise. And then also too, I just had a question about whether that flush garage door is actually the style they're choosing or whether they have something different in mind.
Good comments.
Ken, did you have any comments?
I was approving as is. I think clarification on the garage door, I understand. You're gonna change the siding on the gable, you gotta look at where the head of that door, garage door is, so you'd have to raise it up a little higher, I guess. And I'm not gonna twist somebody's arm to put windows in a garage that they don't want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a question.
My thought on the possible variation of siding type wasn't necessarily to bring it all the way down to the garage door head. Maybe there could be some piece of horizontal trim incorporated, somewhat similar to the main gable on the front of the house, and have that be a nice stopping place for any different siding type.
Well, we'll run out the flagpole and see what the homeowner says, so.
It was just a suggestion. I just thought it would look nice and kind of blend the original house, the previous addition, and the new garage addition together.
Mhm. Yeah, and my comments were also just a suggestion on the south side. But I think because of the scale of it, not a requirement for windows. All right, so that's it for 224 Spring. And then we also have 545 Florence, which is a replacement of windows and garage doors.
It was a little confusing.
One question that I had on this one, the dining room window replacement that is actually drawn shows a grill pattern. And I didn't see any indication about whether the other windows had grills and what the styles of those grills might be. And I just wanted a clarification on that so we know more of what we're actually approving.
Yeah, that was my same comment about the grills at the windows and doors.
I'm just curious if they decided just with the style of the house you're looking at. They decided not to have any grills at all. Do you have any issues with that? Because I'd be fine with that as well.
And maybe we can just find out what the actual proposal is and see what they have in mind.
I'm good with,
All right, so those are our two items we're gonna discuss at 5:30. So I don't think we have anything else.
is the last project, the new house that's moving to approval, is that unanimous already that we're gonna move it to approval? That's what I thought.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, I didn't have any problems with it.
No.
Do we do
nicely
that
done.
at the end, or do we do that as our part of our pre-approval list?
That'll be a part of your pre-approval.
Okay.
Hey, Kelly, while we're hanging out, I have some questions I could look up, but while we're hanging out here, I thought I'd ask you. Um, I was considering the idea of putting a small potting shed in my backyard, just like really small. And I know that there's a submittal required to show the size and the placement on the lot. But for like a little like 8x12 shed, how extensive is the submittal requirement?
It's not that extensive. It's an accessory structure permit application. And you'll have to submit the plans, 2 sets of the plans for the building itself and a boundary improvement survey showing where you're going to locate that shed
Okay,
on your property.
okay, well, I can do that.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty simple.
Okie dokie, thank you.
You don't live in a historic home, do you? I'm trying to remember.
Nope, it's old, but it's not officially anything but old.
Then it shouldn't be much to do.
Okie doke, thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions for Will for code or anything good like that? No?
You guys are very brave to volunteer for pop quizzes.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I'll, since you guys are doing pop quizzes. If someone wants to design a loft in their single family home with a spiral staircase access, no problems, right?
No, I can do that.
As long as the spiral staircase meets code.
Right. And it's not along the means of egress for egress.
Yeah.
Was there a code change with the style of railings that we're able to use now? I saw that there was a project that came through with horizontal.
Oh, the ladder effect, they took the ladder effect out of the code a number of years ago.
Oh,
And I don't think they realized that here. So I don't know if they want to look into putting that back in, but currently it's allowed by the international code.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can remember having that conversation with 30, 15 years ago. Because we were doing work at Edgewood or somewhere, but wanting to use cable, stainless steel cables, and it wasn't allowed, even though the International Building Code did allow it.
mm-hmm.
The city did not. So.
It was kind of funny when they were going through the code change for that. The code, the point of view from the code committee was, one of the things they said was we need to let the parents maintain a little bit of control over their kids too. We can't regulate everything. So, but it is kind of scary because those are awfully easy to climb. But
Yeah.
And kids can be very fast when your head is turned.
Yep.
Yeah, and then at the same point, I could remember my 2-year-old getting her knee stuck into a vertical code compliant fence. You know, she tried, which she climbed it. It didn't keep her from climbing it, but she got her knee stuck in there. So, you know, as a parent, you've got to watch your kids. You can't. So that's interesting that that was a site part of the discussion.
Do big knees run in your family?
I don't know how she did it.
A 4-inch.
And she used to climb everything. She'd climb the top of the tree if you let her, you know, so. I think it was actually in Forest Park. They had just redone, you know, the lower, in front of the art museum. There's a bridge there that she started to climb, and that's where her knee got stuck. I think it was sort of an ornate design. So,
How'd you get her out?
well, I had to lift her up so her knee would slide back up to the top of the, anyway.
I was just wondering how stuck was stuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not that bad. I just thought it was, at the time, I just remember, because as an architect, you're always thinking about that stuff. And
Yeah.
when you have kids, you're like,
See what you have to look forward to, Tracy.
I know.
Did y'all have a good Thanksgiving?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Pretty low key.
Yep. First time we've been alone in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Make all the food and then you don't have anywhere to hand it off. You're just left with all the leftovers.
4 days of trying to figure out what to do with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely low key for us too. It was the first time we haven't left town in 17 years, so it was kind of fun. So.
I do have another question. Could we, this is something Mars will have to look into, but could we just start the meeting at 5 and have our pre-meeting and then immediately maybe tell the people who are going to attend the meeting to show up at 5 instead of 5:30? We end up with a lot of dead airspace here lately.
Yeah, sometimes we do, but yeah, it's advertised as a certain, you know, certain times of start and, you know, for the pre and whatever. And we send all that stuff out before we know if we're going to pre-approve as many as we have. So we've just kind of decided to maintain the same timing. I know it's a little silly sometimes with the dead time, the dead air, but
Residents are able to tune in on this pre-meeting.
yeah, and in this half hour, yeah, they're listening. I've got about 5, I think, on there listening to you guys. So, but maybe it's entertaining for them.
Well, that kind of happens in person too, when we're having our regular meetings at City Hall.
There's sometimes where we're done well before the 5:30 time. So not as much, but occasionally. That gives you all a chance to chat a little bit.
Right.
We could play music, I guess. Something.
Bob, give us more history news. That was pretty interesting.
Oh. Yeah. Well, that's all I have on the Gorlock.
Is that where your office is or where?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, KWK moved in here 7 years ago to one little spot, and then we expanded our office. So we renovated, we did a gut renovation of the second floor on the west end.
Mhm.
And at that time, I'd gotten a hold of the, because this was nominated on the historic register, so that's where I got that information about. Well, that's how I found out about who designed it, and then I went and did some research on that firm. Because at the time, I remember, thinking it's pretty cool that this was one of their first commissions as a small firm. Which I thought was interesting because, it's a pretty well-known building. Well, in Webster it is,
Mhm.
but amongst the architectural community, it stands out as well. I think just because of the shape of it and the style, but it was just interesting to go on and learn, that, through their clients and their connections, they did big and small stuff, and they always did it well. So it was kind of fun to find, little projects that a firm that size had done, dotted all over the St. Louis area, but then for it to end with one of the biggest ones at the time downtown too. So I know the Civil Courts building, if anyone hasn't been in there, is quite impressive on the interior as well.
What firm, I missed the beginning of this. What firm are you referring to?
Klipstein and Welch was the architecture firm that designed the Gorlock where I'm at, and here in town. And then they also did Bevo Mill and some stuff down at Grant's Farm for the Anheuser-Busch family. And then one of their final commissions was a Civil Courts downtown. So that's what I was telling before you got on, Ken. Up until that bit though, when I first came to town, I came here from Los Angeles, and I was so into California modernism that I couldn't figure out what was going on in this town. But but then, as everyone, assimilates, that's a fan of modernism. You come across Harris Armstrong, of course, was the first one. And if anyone doesn't know or isn't aware of, there is a map of all of his projects, every project he did in town. That I forget the guy's name in Kirkwood, it'll come to me, but he did a presentation on Harris Armstrong in 1998, and gave everyone a copy of the map, which I think is really great. I've got a copy of it, I could share it, but it's been fun to travel around St. Louis and find these little houses and buildings that Harris Armstrong did. And then, I think it was the end of last week, I saw his studios for sale over in Oakland. So I don't know if anyone is interested or has $1.5 million, but
Wow.
No, I'm not sure.
Yes, $1.5 million, no.
Yeah.
yeah, something. I think it's like 1.2 mil. But I was just sharing it because that made a big impact when I first moved here. It was kind of fun to find Harris Armstrong and then go explore and find all of his homes. I think that they had a tour of that studio back then. So
And that house is his studio, because when I grew up on Lockwood across from Westboro, we used to always go over there and play in the woods. And I remember his studio as being up on piers, and it had a carp pond underneath it, and it had a Airstream trailer at the end of the building, which was his bathroom and his kitchen.
yeah.
So there's a building there that kind of looks like it, but I thought they tore the studio down and built a Armstrong-esque house there.
An addition to the back, you mean? I know there was an addition done on the back of it,
Yeah, there's a two-story structure at the rear of it, but I didn't think that was his studio. I thought
No.
that thing went away, but. I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
no, right. And I only know that from, I'm not saying it's where he practiced architecture, but I don't know. You would probably know that better than me.
Because
But
I mean, we were around the building, it was like a glass cube, and he'd be in there drawing, and then we'd be playing with the carp fish and stuff.
so that pond that's there was part of the original design, right?
I don't think there's a pond there anymore. I go by there playing golf all the time, and I don't see where the pond is. That's
Yeah,
what
it's-
had me.
Oh yeah, no, it's still there, and it's all plate glass that faces the golf course. I haven't been by there in a long time, Ken, but all that plate glass, the seal had broken on it back then. I think they've replaced it all since then.
I'll have to take a closer look at it, because I've always looked for the carp pond and I can't ever find it anymore. But maybe
Yeah,
it's there, maybe, that would make, I mean, I'm going back when I was 7 and 8 years old, so memory fades.
Yeah, my understanding that was the last place that he built and lived. If he practiced architecture there or not, I'm not sure. I've never really asked. So.
It was his architectural studio. I do know that. Was at that location, so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just remember, I mean, that's been 20 some odd years since I was told that story, so, and saw the space. So I thought that was right. And I do remember, hearing stories about George Casabon would go over. I just remember people talking about HOK and Harris Armstrong, and that they'd go over to his studio and house. So I assume that was the same, one and the same.
I think his house was towards Sappington. He used to pull off Sappington, he had his house, and he kept driving to the corner of the golf course is where his studio was. So there were two different. So,
Yeah, he designed, I think, 3 or 4 homes in that area at least.
yes, he did. There's several of them, and I think there's the one across the street. It's a brick international style building. It's got that Kitty Wampus little addition on it. I think that's his building. I was doing the planning and zoning reviews in Oakland when that came through, and I thought the drawing got caught in the printing machine and pivoted.
All right, guys, I think we're close enough to time, so why don't we go ahead and start?
Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone that's online and been waiting, I guess, listening. Their official meeting is now going to start on the Zoom meeting tonight. We have Kelly Campbell and Will Penny, Ken Burns, Tracy Collins, Carol Dunke, and myself, Bob Buckman. The first item of business is review of meeting minutes from November 19th, and there's 4 of us here, so assuming everyone's had a chance to review.
No comments here.
Looks fine to me.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the November 19th meeting minutes as written.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Ken? You're on mute.
I gotta speak, I'm sorry. Aye.
Okay. All right, meeting minutes are approved. Next we have pre-approvals. So as we run through them, any comments that were listed, sent out by the city, please reference that in your motion. First one is 811 Clark. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 811 Clark with the understanding that the approval is based on the updated elevations submitted on 12/1/2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Oppose? 811 Clark is approved. Next, we have 560 Locust Court. Do I have a motion?
I just want to ask a question. the change from, the drawing kind of indicated vertical siding, and then this says they're gonna do horizontal. Was that the owner's initiative?
I do not know.
I'm okay either way, but I was just kind of curious.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Mhm. Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve 560 Locust Court with the clarification that the addition will have horizontal siding to match the existing and the window trim will match existing.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? That is approved. Next, we have 50 West Drake. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with the clarification that the roof of the addition will match the slope of the existing roof and that the finish of the exposed foundation will match that of the existing foundation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? And then we have, so that's approved. Then we have 315 Plant. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve 315 Plant with the clarification that the front porch that's modified on the drawings will be reviewed at a later date.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Ken, are you on mute?
I'm sorry. Aye.
Okay. Opposed? All right, that is approved. Last, we had a preliminary at 552 Glendale, which prior to this meeting, everyone had made a motion to move to pre-approval. So with that, do I have a motion on 452 East Glendale?
I make a motion that 452 East Glendale be approved as submitted and move from a preliminary to a full ARB approval.
All right,
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, that's the pre-approvals. We have two submittals, which we're going to review online here with applicants. First one is 224 Spring.
So whoever is representing 224 Spring, please raise your hand. Attendees? I need somebody to, there we go. Peter, can you hear us? Peter, can you hear us? Well, let me see. Okay, I can see you, Peter, but we can't hear you.
Looks like there's somebody else too with their hand raised.
No luck. So I've got Mario with his hand raised. You're muted as well.
Yeah.
Mario, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, I've got Mario. I'll keep trying to get Peter.
Yeah, I think Peter just has to hit his mute button, doesn't he?
He needs to.
It's harder than you think.
True. Can be.
Because it plays hide and seek on you.
Yeah.
True.
Peter, if you can hear us, can you raise one of your hands?
Yeah, you can hear us.
Try pushing your space bar when you want to speak, see if that works.
There you go.
Yeah, it looks like you're off of mute.
You have to hold it down when you speak too, like a radio or walkie-talkie.
So at least you can hear us, correct? Nod your head. Yes.
All right, so, and Mario, are you the homeowner, contractor, architect?
Yeah, homeowner.
Oh, okay. Great. I think we just had a few questions and comments, so I'll start with Carol, you had some comments.
Yeah, I had a question about the garage door style, the overhead garage door. I didn't know if that flush design was what you had planned or if you were planning on selecting a different style.
Well, it'll be set back a little bit, the width of the framing. So it won't be, exactly flush, but yeah, that's, I hope to get something with some windows.
Okay, so,
it,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
really, the garage door, as nice as I can get, is what the budget will allow. It won't be, I don't envision it being flat like that without windows.
Okay, so it will have some variety, like a little more articulated style, perhaps some windows or some panels or something.
Yeah, windows, I would like to put windows in there. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds fine. I just wanted to clarify what the intent was there. And then the other item I had was just a suggestion for y'all to consider. On that front facing gable of the garage, I thought it might look nice to maybe vary the siding type a little. You could run a piece of horizontal trim and have that be an ending spot for a little bit different style siding. If you look at the side elevation above that side porch, there's a little variation of the siding type there. I thought that might be a nice way to tie the existing house to your new addition. So
Yeah.
it's just something to consider.
I would agree. I would agree with that. Break up that, that big front of all the siding. I think that's a good suggestion.
Yeah, great. I think that would look really nice.
Yeah, it's all hardy siding that I wanted to continue with. So just kind of what's available. And, I don't know if I'll be able to match that quote unquote fish scale or whatever. But I agree something to break it up. Up towards the top would, up towards the top, right?
Right,
Yeah,
yeah. And, just looking at the west elevation, where you have your side porch there's a big, the beam of the side porch is quite deep. And maybe you could align your horizontal trim piece at the garage gable with that porch beam. And so it would just all be in a nice alignment, and then have your siding variation above that trim.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. I guess I see where you're saying that might be a lot of, I understand. I mean, am I committing to that, like to that exact location right now, or?
No, it was just a suggestion that, there's a nice proportion of trim variation on your main front gable, which has the horizontal trim up a little higher.
Yep.
That would be fine too.
Okay.
I don't think we necessarily need to commit to any particular proportion. Just glad you embraced the idea.
Yeah, there's almost like a dotted line carrying across, and I'm thinking more like that height above, not so much where the side porch, where you're saying that big, trim piece, but more up.
Yeah.
I don't know what that dotted line represents.
Floor line.
Yeah.
Yeah, your second floor.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, up somewhere like around that, I think would look. Yeah.
I think that would be fine. Actually, on
Okay.
the little sketch I drew, that's where I put it originally. So I think that would look great.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I think that would look nice as well.
Those are the only two comments I had. Thanks, Mario.
Okay, sure.
Tracy?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if, the south side of the garage is pretty long wall. I didn't know, I mean, I know it's a garage, but just wanted to see if maybe you're open to adding some windows on that wall to help break it up.
Well, I mean, on that, if you looked at the, if you saw like what the south side was butting up to, there's not, it's not the most beautiful view. And I think with all the garage door and all the, the windows by the side door,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just don't see it. And, I picture more, shelving, and then I'd be working around there. So I would rather not. I understand what you're saying. And if I was looking out to a beautiful view, I would be all for it. But it's kind of butted up next to an old garage that the neighbor has. And I would rather not.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to bring it up, and I know you've got a lot of other windows in there, and adding windows in the garage door is gonna help too, so,
Right.
yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
I'm good with that wall without the window on it, so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had the same comment, I think because of its scale, it's not really a requirement, but I think like
Yeah.
Tracy said, some of us might suggest things like that just because we're making sure you thought it through. Sometimes folks, don't think about it, but and then some of it is a personal preference, if someone
Right.
likes they're going to use their garage as a wood shop or something, and they like lots of daylight, they'll put windows all over. And if they're just going to park a car in it, they may not want any. So,
Right. Right.
yeah. So I had the same comment originally, but it's I don't think it was a requirement at all. So,
Okay.
with that, I don't think there were any other comments from the board in the so it sounds like
Can I ask one question?
sure.
Again, we're working within a budget. I love the design that the architect drew with all the glass around those doors, but if it gets like a crazy amount and budget can't afford, am I locked into that, or can I scale that down a little bit?
You mean you would just go to the doors and get rid of the side lights and the clear
I mean,
story?
Yeah, like worst case scenario, if budget just, doesn't allow it. I don't know if I'm locked into it or if it has to come up in front of the board again. Obviously, if these numbers all line up, that's what I would love to do. And that's my intention. But as I start getting pricing and material being a lot more expensive than it was, a couple months ago, I just thought it'd be worth throwing out there to see if that's what I'm locked into and agreeing to with you guys.
I mean, I think
Letting you do the doors and not the side lights and all that.
yeah. So I think we're actually voting on the plans you submitted.
Okay.
Any kind of modifications to it, you'd have to run it through the city.
Okay. Again, this is what I'd like to build.
Yeah.
By all means, I'm not trying to change it, but if it's build a garage with just some double door, nice French doors, or you know what I'm saying? Obviously it's my number one choice.
Well, yeah.
Or
So
even just the side panels without the the windows above. I want as much light, and I want it to really feel a part of the patio, because that's what my intention is. But again, stuff's just getting crazy with material. So definitely, even the side lights without the windows above. But like, again, I'm just putting it out there as the homeowner and the one writing the checks. So
yeah, I think if you're gonna make any changes to the plan, you just have to submit them to the said city. And for us, we can vote on what we see here, and if you want to modify it, just let the city know once you get your permit. And
fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
they'll be able to tell you if what's the next steps are.
Okay,
Um,
no, that's fine.
Okay, so so it sounds like we're voting on what's drawn. And you're open to adding, the trim and the gable on the west elevation.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's what we'll make our motion on.
So the homeowner's saying he is gonna do that, because I thought that was a recommendation.
It's an option. So if he decides to do it, he doesn't have to come back to us again. He can just go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
That's my understanding anyway, correct?
It's non-binding, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna do it. I think it's a good suggestion. I think it'll look nice, so.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll put that in the motion as an option.
Okay.
Okay. So with that, do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve 224 Spring as submitted with the understanding that the applicant has the option to add a piece of horizontal trim and vary the siding type on the front facing gable of the new garage. And the owner has the option to vary the garage door style to include panels and or windows if he chooses.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, Mario and Peter, you guys are approved.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and next on the list, we have 545 Florence. Who is on the line?
Raise your hand for 545 Florence. Okay, looks like Ryan.
Yep, I'm here. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome, Ryan.
Hey,
Are
thank
you the
you.
homeowner or?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I think we had a couple questions.
Okay.
Carol or Tracy, I think you had questions.
Yeah, I think we were just curious about the window style, if it has grills in it or not.
It will not have any. It will not have any grills in it, and I apologize for not being more clear in that. But yeah, no grills at all. It'll be plain.
In both the windows and the doors.
That's correct.
Okay.
I think that aesthetically might even be an improvement.
Those old windows are pretty nice, let me tell you.
Just as a follow-up clarification, the dining room window replacement that's drawn does have grills. So none of the new windows or doors will have grills, is that correct?
The current window does have grills. The replacement sliding door will not, so everything will match.
Okay, okay.
I missed that. You're saying there are no grills on any door or window, correct?
There will not be. All the replacements will be no grills. Yes.
That's what I thought you were doing.
Yeah.
I'm cool. Okay.
Thank you.
That's fine with me.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Well, with that, then do I have a motion?
Make a
Make-
motion to, you go ahead.
Make a motion to approve 545 Florence with the understanding that all the windows and doors will match and that they will not have any grills.
Second.
All right, thanks, Ken. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, Ryan, you're approved.
All right. Thank you guys for your time.
You bet.
Thank you.
Take care.
Right. Bye-bye.
Anything else, Kelly? And if not,
No, I've got a few more people on. For some reason, those of you who are still on, all the projects other than the two that we just discussed have already been pre-approved. So you should have got an email to that effect. Nah, they just dropped off.
There
Okay.
you go.
we go. All right. With that, meeting's adjourned. I guess we'll see everyone
All right.
in weeks.
Thanks, guys.
All right. You're welcome. Thanks,
Good night.
Kelly.
Bye,
and Laura.
everybody.